It's June 13th, 2022. I'm in this Union Jack. I'm watching this thing on the live news on ABC at noon, just Channel 7. It's live. It says attack on the Capitol, the investigation. What really is striking, because I'm trying to listen to the words and how their system that they've studied, but they've not allowed me to study the way that they've studied it. They have this hearing going on, but at the bottom, I know how to read. It's in this New York version of phonetic English. It reads, former U.S. Attorney for Georgia, buying JIN, the BJ, that PAK testifies. And I'm like, no, is that the feds? Because it says the U.S., the us. I'm looking at the messenger. It's not one of mine. Or it's not familial, at least, while I'm here and whatever. I don't know how it becomes a U.S. Attorney for Georgia. Or a former U.S. Attorney for Georgia. I mean, does that have to do with the oil drilling and stuff? I don't know. Lynn's watching something to do with oil drills and rigs and contracts, and I'm like, oh my god, that's like a whole nother layer of like nobody even spoke about in my life frame. In case Care Bears need to know something, I mean, I'm still caring a lot and expressing my feelings and kind of sort of not really. Not much to feel about this other than a whole lot of whatever. But it does, by sure, say buying and then JIN. JIN, in some spiritual ancient texts, reference these supernatural beings. He fits the description, and he should know better, because I don't know which part of the ancient texts and where his people are from, but I'm pretty sure, even though they're not allowed to buy JIN, or JIN, there's some fugazi going on. And, like, we don't even share the same alphabet or calligraphy. So there's some assignment of translation, and then usually, or it used to anyway, when the world worked properly, there was an assignment where the job title was built into their names. So with that being the case, I don't know how U.S. attorneys become U.S. attorneys. I don't know if it's an appointed position. I don't know. For Georgia, so he was assigned to Georgia. Now, Georgia's got this new nuclear power facility going up, really scares me. And then this guy pops up and he's saying buying JIN. And I know that in the GIN of things, with G under, my life story is not the way that it was supposed to be scripted or storyboarded or performed. So I'm just wondering how, in the big wide world and concourse of things, of knowing I belong to some family business, I just don't know why the family business representative didn't come pick me up for marriage the correct way, and why there's some buying JIN going on, testifying before Congress. And I mean, they're testifying about votes and ballots and suitcases, and I'm like, oh, is that all like code for something else? Because in like real world, we didn't get educated, and like we're the can that keeps getting kicked down the street for some reason, in like some orphan Annie. I don't know where like Miss Hannigan is, but it is for certain like a real frightening thing, because I know on Ancient Aliens, the Historical Society on the History Channel, as a reference, they are speaking of ancient texts that they themselves had studied and been allowed to study abroad, which I find their entire cast so interesting. They went through the monoliths of the mega stone structures. They were talking about star things, Stargate, star people. Like, I mean, it was a fascinating series that I watched. But in it, they do speak of this JIN, although they here also there's some talk of it being a clear liquid with some, I don't know what, again, I don't have the words because I don't drink. So, but if you walk into Barden or a Barden, just so handlebar, mustache, whatever, gets the right picture, there's some bottle and on it has the letters GIN. I'm pretty sure I looked it up on Google, the lazy man's guide to whatever this crazy area is branding and marketing with symbols, placement with the objects I might not encounter on my own. But if I need a reference guide of looking, cross-referencing symbols, it's on there as a clear liquid in a bottle. Again, things that other people know at learned how to bartend. I tend not to know as much as their studies for how to whatever people from behind the bar at patronizing on the other side. So it's really confusing, but it is very serious. So here, this is what it looks like just on the type, TYPE, or the telegraph, or the bar at the bottom says it has this picture. So now, like, again, the FCC, technically, or so the story goes, has this broadcasting and radio thing that they're in charge of. That's the social norm that's been, even my level of human knows that that's what they call it. They used to have this big FBI symbol and all these words, like really scary, like if you tape the TV and if you, that's all been erased and gone away. I don't know what happened. So that no longer exists right before all these televised pieces. But when I time travel, like, I know I time traveled in one direction through my life. Some of the memories I have, some they remind me of what we did. And then some, when you remote view or time travel by remote view, to try to recall what was there within the same whatever. I mean, again, I know that I had a stuffed animal that was tactile, that was in a physical form and tangible. Those are really important things. Others experience the same level of availability to obtain those objects as well, in the local area. So then it becomes some kind of like societal norm, that there's agreement that it was available in a general public, in the common area. But the divide is between the next echelon and what was here in this area under this particular Union Jack. And then there's scary things like they know how to become U.S. attorneys, and I've never, what's the difference between the local attorneys and the U.S. attorneys? Like, how does that work? So this is the person, and this is the...
But he was unable to find any evidence of fraud that affected the outcome of the election.
So after investigating the president's and Mr. Giuliani's claims about voter fraud in Georgia, is it...
And again, I have no idea if that's part of controlling the conversation for business enterprise elsewhere. I don't know if that's what the U.S. and the us actually takes care of, because it gets confusing. I really don't see whatever. But it's like these ruling partnerships now as an added layer. Lewis wanted to go to this place called Chipotle. I'm like, he's like, in Italian that means onion. I go, it does? I was like, boy, it really does lose its panache. I don't know. It loses something in the linguistical translation. So, that's interesting, but really this buy JIN, buying JIN, there's usually a U right here between these two letters. Oh, actually these are reversed, and then there's an I in there, buying JIN. But that's been removed. I'm sure that's important at translation elsewhere for people who take some form of whatever alphabet this is called in the important part of the world. Again, things they don't teach over here necessarily. I mean, at least to my whatever. But I was like, wow, that is really pronounced this morning. I'm not quite sure if other people are aware of it. But it's what it sounds like. If there's a blind man, it says buying JIN. Just so somebody with hearing knows. Because somebody with sight might say it's not, but again, I've heard there's PAKs. Didn't realize that that's what PAK looks like. But there's a PAC also. Not sure what that's about. This one's PAK again. And then there's this word of party, which is like, I get really lost in that minutia for sure. It's frightening. Trying to figure out and translate what they all mean. And why is it so difficult to be able to function? Just function. So I'm not in a working poor class while there's people in nice suits having voices, being able to whatever. I mean, not even functioning right within the system. It's like it's really frustrating. It's what abandonment feels like. It's on the brighter side of things, I guess. Father's Day is coming up. And in this Care Bears kind of a way, Lou took me to this Moho, Moho grill up on the boulevard, the Bell Boulevard. We had lunch together in public.
You live in Georgia, aren't you?
Yes, I am. So there was whoever, community-wise, that walks through or around. He and I ate outside. This way it wasn't intrusive. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.